So sometimes people ask me, when they hear that I'm a financial advisor, they ask, well, what exactly is it that you do? And, that's a relevant question, and I'll answer that in just a second. But a much more important question is why a person like me does what I do. I have to take you back in history just a little bit to 1979, when the then young man suddenly found himself unemployed. Now, I answered ad after ad, and I interviewed, and I couldn't seem to find the right opportunity for myself. And so finally, one day, in desperation, I answered an ad for an insurance company called Mutual of Omaha. Now, some of you may remember them because you do business with them currently, or because back in the day, they sponsored a TV show called The Wild Kingdom. When I went to work for them, my job entailed helping people buy health insurance and disability insurance and Medicare supplements and maybe a little bit of life insurance. And what I soon discovered is that this was a complicated subject and that people really needed a lot of help with it because they didn't understand anything about it. And so what I started to see is that although I never expected this to be a career, it was really just a stopgap until something better came along. I finally started to see that I was actually doing something that I called social good. I was helping people. So it was more than just a way to make a living. Fast forward a number of years, and one of my financial planning clients, Ray and his wife, Sally, when they first became clients, it's because they lived across the street from us when we lived in Florida. And their children were the same age as my children, and they played together, and we socialized. And one day, we are in their swimming pool, and Ray asks me the inevitable question. He says, "Peter, what exactly is it that you do?" And so, of course, I told him. And then I went on to say, "But Ray, something that's important, my clients, they love me." And he looked at me really strangely, and he said, "They love you? Why would your clients love you?" And I tell him, well, it's because I always tell them the truth and I always keep my promises. So lo and behold, a short time later, Ray and Sally became clients. And I took care of them 15 years. We fast forward in time and we're having a review. And Ray tells me, "Peter, I have surgery scheduled next week because I have prostate cancer. But fear not, because the diagnosis, they're getting it in time and everything is going to be good." And so sure enough, he had the surgery and everything went well and the prognosis was good. And sure enough, a year later, he was diagnosed with having brain cancer. And if you have any familiarity with folks that have suffered from that horrible disease, it's not usually very long from the time they're diagnosed to the time that the worst thing happens. And that's what happened with Ray. Now, I no longer lived in Florida, but I flew into town for the funeral, and it was at a big church, and the church was standing room only. It was packed with mourners. And because Ray was a very big man, a little man and a big man in a couple of ways, I'll tell you. His fraternity brothers nicknamed him the fire plug because, in truth, he was only slightly taller than he was wide. But he was very big in community efforts and charitable activities and his involvement in the community for 35 or 40 years. And so this church was mobbed. And these mourners, I know for a fact that many of them sent condolence cards and some of them sent flowers. I saw lots of flowers. And I know for sure that most of them shed tears. I know I did that day. But one thing that separated me from all the rest of them is that in addition to all those things, I showed up with a check for millions of dollars. And how many millions, really not important. But it was enough so that Ray's family could continue on financially even without him. That Ray's business affairs could be settled. That Ray's legacy and what he really wanted his life to stand for could be guaranteed. And I get such a thrill just telling you about it right now. But that convinced me that day that as long as the good Lord allows me to continue to do this, I will, because helping people and protecting them in ways that they have no idea, that's what my mission in life is all about. That's why I do what I do.